Love is like hunger, and the choices that you make with food is essentially because of how you are grown up in a society or what culture you grew up in.
I think if love is not what love is supposed to be, there's manipulation.
When you take like Romeo and Juliet, the whole thing is that they choose to love each other, but they were from two families who always had a rifle between each other. So that was the huge problem.
Make their fans feel connected to them. You know, so they can love them more. It's like it's showing that we love our fans so much to the point where our fans don't even love us that much. Maybe love turns into devotion. So yeah, everything is manipulated in so many different ways, and people, if they have power, they can actually manipulate how you love somebody and who you love as well.
News reporter.
Okay, let's start. ഇതൊക്കെ റെക്കോർഡറാണ്. അല്ല ഇങ്ങനെ തന്നെ തുടങ്ങാന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ലൈക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ ഇട്ടിട്ട് ഓക്കെ സോ വി officially start our third episode. Third episode, yes.
Third?
Yeah.
Oh yes, third. Yes.
This is the third episode. Third allad nammal post cheyidu kanyal then whatever number episode. Welcome to another episode of our podcast. Yay. So how are you guys?
Yeah. Excited.
Yeah, about today's topic.
Okay, what did you like? How are you feeling like today in general?
I try to make coffee
and fail miserably.
Coffee
Oh my god, you're making it in mocha pot. We forgot the aspect of water in coffee.
I was anyway.
Yeah, moving on. So I recently rewatched a film by amazing Greta Gerwig called Lady Bird. It's a movie. If somebody you haven't watched, then please watch it. It's a very nice movie. But there was one particular scene which like stayed with me, which always like pandum adu kandappa njan ingane aalochirunnu ippolum adu kandappam I thought it's very interesting to bring it up where so Lady Bird played by Saoirse Ronan, she asks her mother played by Laurie Metcalf appam chodikkin like avaru trial room like oru clothing area lan appam trial room inde aduthu ninnittu she asks her mother like avaru ingane ഭയങ്കര ഒരു അടി ഉണ്ടാക്കി വന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ് അടി ഉണ്ടാക്കണു അത് ഈ ഡ്രസ്സ് ഇടണു ശരിയാവാനുള്ള ഭയങ്കര പ്രശ്നം അപ്പം പുള്ളിക്കാർ അവസാനം ഇങ്ങനെ ചോദിക്കും ലൈക്ക് ബട്ട് ഡു യു ലൈക്ക് മീ മദർ എന്നിങ്ങനെ ചോദിക്കും അപ്പം പുള്ളിക്കാരർ ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ് ഇറ്റ്സ് ഐ എം യുവർ മദർ ഐ ലവ് യു എന്ന് പറയും അപ്പം ബട്ട് ലൈക്ക് ഷീസ് ലൈക്ക് നോ ഡു യു ലൈക്ക് മീ എന്ന് ചോദിക്കും അപ്പം അമ്മ ഇങ്ങനെ നോക്കിയിട്ട് ഷീ ഡിഡ്ന്റ് സേ എനിത്തിങ് ഷീ ജസ്റ്റ് ലൈക്ക് സ്റ്റേസ് ലൈക്ക് ദാറ്റ് എന്നിട്ട് അത് അവൾ ലൈക്ക് ലേഡി ബേർഡ് ഉള്ളിലേക്ക് ട്രയൽ റൂമിൻ്റെ ഉള്ളിലേക്ക് കയറിപ്പോവും. So that is the first time kandappa like even I felt like going to my mother and ask like then I was so scared that what if she says that I don't what if she like waits pauses to respond. I'm like I can't take it, so I didn't went and asked her. So I thought adu vannappam I thought love as an emotion is it's a very interesting topic to discuss nu njan ingane avarodu parna like you all agreed also because there is പറയുമ്പം there isn't much to talk എന്ന് തോന്നും but when we start digging more into it as an emotion or a verb or a feeling or a noun whatever you put it it has a lot of meanings, it holds a lot of feelings. അപ്പം അതുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെപ്പറ്റി സംസാരിക്കാം എന്ന് വെച്ചു. So love is our topic of the day. So yeah. So what do you guys think? So if I have to say, because poets, writers, a lot of people have tried to describe love in their own way. ചിലവർക്ക് അത് കറക്റ്റായിട്ട് തോന്നില്ല, ചിലവർക്ക് കറക്റ്റായിട്ട് തോന്നും. So it's a very personal emotion also. So if I have to like, it's a very like difficult thing, but if I have to ask you like if you can describe or associate love with like 3 words or like multiple words, what it will be?
3 words.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think love is from what I feel. Love is not just a feeling. Our feeling matram. I think it's a very misunderstood topic. If love is just a feeling, for me, love is like presence.
Okay.
Presence, freedom,
Yeah.
trust.
Trust. Yeah.
I think if these three things are there, I cannot say it's an unconditional love, but just to define love,
Yeah.
I think these three things should be there. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
That makes sense. I think for me, attention
Yeah.
is a very huge aspect.
Yeah.
Because if you don't pay attention to the person that you love, I don't think there's meaning to
Yeah.
it. Because അല്ലേ, കാരണം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ ചെറിയ ചെറിയ കാര്യങ്ങൾക്ക് അറ്റൻഷൻ കൊടുക്കണം. The person that we love should feel like, oh, that was a very small thing, and then this person
You
paid
listen,
attention to
yeah,
it. You
yeah.
know? Even I wouldn't have paid attention to something like that. അങ്ങനെ yeah, I think honesty is also a really good,
Of course.
because നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ സെൽഫ് ലവ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ ടു അനദർ പേഴ്സൺ ആയാലും വി ഷുഡ് ബി ഓണസ്റ്റ്
Of course.
ഉള്ളത് ഉണ്ട്. ഓൾസോ ഫോർ മീ പേഴ്സണലി ഐ വുഡ് സേ ഫ്രണ്ട്ഷിപ്പ്
Yeah.
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 is love.
Yeah.
You know, because I love my friends, and then if I have to have a partner, then that person should be like my best friend.
Yeah.
I
Of course.
ആ ഒരു റാപ്പോ ഉണ്ടാവണം എന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. So I think these are the three words.
Three
What
words.
are yours?
So I think, I mean, again, കുറെയൊക്കെ സിമിലർ ആണ്. പക്ഷേ if I have to say something else, then knowledge, and it's knowledge in not the sense like ലോകത്തിലേക്കുള്ള അറിവല്ല, പക്ഷെ നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ പറയാം വെളിവ്, വിവരം, ഇമോഷണൽ ഇൻ്റലിജൻസ് ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് എന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നി. കാരണം ഒരാൾ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ വരുമ്പം എങ്ങനെ റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യും എന്ന് അറിയുമ്പം, and if they do it maturely or like in relation to that situation, how they handle it, and I find it very ഒരു comfort ആണ്, so that like I can trust, like trust is again another, like I can trust this person, or I can be safe is another word. Be safe with that person എന്നുള്ള ഒരു like I think these three like correlates. I think all of it correlates, പക്ഷേ അതാണ് കൂടുതലും.
But when we discuss love now, I think we just focused on, from what I understood, it's just from someone else. But like you said, love is more than that, right?
Yeah.
Like love is self-love, love for your country, love for your parents. So yeah.
നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞതൊക്കെ ആണേലും ലവ്, ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ അറ്റൻഷൻ കൊടുക്കുകയാണേലും if it comes to self love, you should give attention to yourself.
Yeah, you need to be your friend
also. Yeah, be your friend also. You need to be honest with yourself as
yes,
well.
yeah.
You should be emotion intelligent to be, you know, living in a society, obviously. Even country nodulladaanelum you should pay attention to. So I think in every kind of love, all these nammalipo paranja okke it actually is valid for everything.
Yeah, but moreover, we like, if someone hear this, moreover we tend to think it's a love from an
to another
intimate
person.
partner.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what my mind just went only to that.
Yeah.
It's what usually misunderstood, that love is just from that.
Somebody else.
Somebody else, yeah.
To your like partner, or maybe someone who you choose to share
Choose
your
to
life with. I think that's the love that we all
Talk
think about and
yeah.
then fantasize about as well. We don't talk about, I think nowadays we do talk about self-love, and then, you know,
lot,
the love
yeah.
for your friends and even your neighbor and things like that. But then I think that's the love that we all knew growing up. Because ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ വായിച്ച ബുക്സ് ആണെങ്കിലും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ how love is like portrayed in movies and songs and everything, it's all about yearning for this one in your life. True love.
Yes. Romance.
Yes, your
like romance എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതിലേക്ക് വരും. Love is only about
is only about romance എന്നുള്ള ഒരു concept is very commercialized. Yeah,
very much.
Say
very much.
Very much.
Yeah. Like we'll go to romance, but you mentioned one word, although I thought നമ്മൾ കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അത് എടുക്കാമെന്ന് വെച്ചു, ബട്ട് ഐ തിങ്ക് ഇറ്റ്സ് എ റൈറ്റ് ടൈം. യു മെൻഷൻ അബൌട്ട് അൺകണ്ടീഷണൽ ലവ്. And it's a controversial topic to me because I don't feel like there is an unconditional love. There is a condition. Like people usually put like babies' love to their mother or their parents an unconditional one, but like they know they provide them food, so they have to be like I don't think there is always a condition.
There's some condition attached to the love always. But if I can say, I wouldn't put it in words, but I can say from my experience what I felt unconditional love is for me.
Yeah.
And I would like you guys also to share your experience.
Yeah.
The only place where I experienced that is maybe from my grandmother, not even from my mom, because I feel she's very self-aware. She has so much self-love.
Yeah.
Okay, but from my grandmother, if I see, like even if we make like some main special dish at home, she wouldn't eat that. She would eat something, like ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ചെറിയ കറി കഴിക്കും. ഇപ്പം ചിക്കൻ ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ she wouldn't eat that.
Yeah.
Not because she doesn't want to അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അത്ര ഇല്ല, but she would just be like ഇല്ല കുറച്ചും കൂടെ ഞാൻ കഴിച്ചില്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നാളെ എടുക്കാലോ. ആ ഒരു തോട്ട്, ആ ഒരു സംഭവം I have only, she's not expecting anything. She's old, she's not expecting anything. But the kind of love that she has, even from my dad I received, like even if he's very broke, നമ്മൾ എന്ത് പറഞ്ഞാലും he would always buy us.
Yeah.
So I think the only places I received is from there, and I don't know if there is any condition attached. എനിക്ക് അങ്ങനെ തോന്നിയിട്ടില്ല.
Okay.
But if it comes to other things, I always analyze love like that. Okay, maybe they want this, or we always do that unconsciously.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way I felt unconditional love, and I don't know if it's true, but I felt it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I felt it. And what do you guys think?
I think love is, I think I shared a quote today.
Oh yes,
and how we perceive love is the environment that we grew up in.
True.
So unconditional love from your family, I think there's this condition that they are your family.
Yeah.
But there are so many like നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ എടുത്തു നോക്കിയാൽ we can say that, but ഇവിടൊക്കെ വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു love is not there. I wouldn't say it's not there, but it's more like when people live individually, like they separate from their parents or 16 കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇന്ത്യയിലും you see a lot of people, നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ മൂവിയിലാണെങ്കിലും ഞാൻ നേരിട്ട് തന്നെ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്, it does not mean just because they are your parents or your grandmother they need to be loving. I have seen worse cases.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I just feel like ഈ ഒരു കണ്ടീഷൻ നമ്മളെ ഫാമിലി കണ്ടീഷണൽ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് അല്ല അവരുടെ സ്നേഹം. I feel like it's you as a person, or they would have received that kind of love, so they can just pass it on.
Yeah.
So like there are families who don't actually have a good relationship with each other. Obviously there are lots of examples, but then there are a lot of examples where people are really loving to each other, like the kind of unconditional love that you talk about. I think still I would say there's this
there is a condition
that they are your family, since they are your daughters or sons, or they are your grandchildren. Grandmothers അല്ലെങ്കിൽ grandparents അവരുടെ grandchildrenോട് ആയിരിക്കും കൂടുതൽ ഒരു attachment I have felt. So more than their sons or daughters. So I think that is also there. പിന്നെ നമ്മളുടെ ഇന്ത്യൻ സൊസൈറ്റിയിൽ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ like we talked about, it's like more of sacrificing for your love. Women are taught conditioned like that, to sacrifice your own happiness or your own life for people in your family essentially. അപ്പം that is because of how we are conditioned, I would say.
But even if there is a condition, there is a choice. You don't have to choose to, But it's true.
No,
it could be.
I'm not denying.
No,
yes,
it's
I'm
also
just
inherited also.
Inherited. Yes, that's what like conditioned I meant. In your brain, you have seen your mothers or your grandparents do this to us, and then we pass it down the same thing to the next generation. So I think that's how women were conditioned to behave. That's what I felt. About unconditional love, I would say it's again, not unconditional.
Conditional, yeah.
To my pets, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are there for me. I think I love them.
Yes.
And then they don't talk back to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah. So they are just always there hanging out, ready to hang out with me. So I think this kind of unconditional love I must have felt towards them. But then, yeah, because there are a little bit
Conditions here and there,
Because
yeah.
you're getting that affection.
Yeah.
And
And then-
talking to you.
Yes.
So talking, this is something that people usually like relate to animals or like love from animals. There are love that heals you as a person. It can be instances, it can be someone who has been there, an animal or anything. It can be anything. So is there any, like, so for me, there was one such incident. Like it's always been the girls around me, my friends. I mostly only had like girl friends around me. Pandailum, school, college, mostly because I lived in a space where school, so we were not really allowed to like make friends with boys. Pinna adinte issue avum, pinna inde pore teacher mar adakkum, and we didn't want to go to that drama, so the circle was mostly with the girls, and they have sort of like that. Now when I look back, I know that their love and support, like it's not even like they're thinking that, oh, I am supporting this person. Other have healed me a lot in so like that, if you guys can share any snippet or a thought.
Do you want to talk? I can't think of it.
Yeah. I would say the friends that I made in Bangalore, like the second part of my life in Bangalore, I would say. Our COVID in this time, friends. I think I would say they are this huge part of my life as well. And then there are like two particular people. One was my roommate, and then there was another person as well. So these people really, I would say, help me understand what relationships are, basically.
Yeah.
Like I did not have a very good example of how relationships are when I was growing up. So that actually changed my perspective of everything about relationships, I would say. And then this one person literally like healed me. I was in a very bad state as well. And then he was the one who actually like stayed by my side and then just picked me up, and whatever I am now mentally, I would say it's because of him, you know, basically. Yeah. So I think that was a very life-changing relationship that I had, those two relationships, I would say. Yeah.
I think it's a nice thing, you know, to have someone who can, it's not like fixing you,
Yeah.
but just being and giving that presence to
Yes,
you.
yeah.
So you...
Like it's just like a support.
Huh,
I
yeah.
am fixing myself, but then this person is there just beside me, like, you know, encouraging me and supporting me through the way, I would say. That was really helpful, and then I'm really grateful for that as well. Yeah.
I think for me, like you said, it's my girlfriends who I can always go back to. Like, no matter what I'm going through, if I just call them, they don't have to say anything. It's just their presence, knowing that whatever I do, like, I have had people where, you know, when I'm going through something and they were just there for the good part, and when they saw me vulnerable, they just gave up. So, obviously. So, angane, I feel like it's not, some people really misunderstand that just because you are screwed up doesn't mean you have to live that person, you know. Just by staying, like you said, that person's present, it can really change. And I have this best friend, like I've had a lot of friends, and ഒരു call ചെയ്താൽ മതി, അവർ just ഒന്നും പറയണ്ട. I think love in the form of presence is also like, it just heals us. So
I learned in a girls only school, basically. പക്ഷെങ്കിൽ എന്നാലും there's this girls' relationships are complicated, people say, you know. And I've felt that even when I was like in this girls only school as well. Like there was this gang fights and jealousy and misunderstandings and things like that. So I did have really good friends growing up, but then at one point I did lose some people because basically mentally I wasn't okay, I would say. So I've lost people angane. പക്ഷേ after going to Bangalore and then having this relationships and everything, I've actually found really beautiful female friendships, even from here as well. Finding really having this girl gang with you, it's really very healing, to be with this, in touch with your feminine energy is very much encouraging, and then it just lifts up your mood, I would say. So I think
it's also because we discuss. I think we have, especially when it comes to girls, we share everything, all our emotional problems and everything. I think it's very uplifting to have such people around.
Of course.
People who are mature.
Again, coming back to that.
Who are emotionally intelligent.
Where we can talk about things and, try to become better, not just talking about cars and stuff or movies. Like really, just talking about... I meant to say, I have friends where we talk only about certain things, but having these people who you can really talk about things, I think it's a blessing.
Of course.
And of course. Obviously, But, and also people think that if you're an adult or if you're old enough, you have this emotional intelligence and maturity, but then age doesn't actually correlate to your emotional intelligence. It doesn't.
Sorry.
So just putting it out there.
So coming back to something I also experienced, because I am somebody who had a history of self-hate and like going through, and it went to like an extent where it was very bad. Pakshe, like even before I understood or put a label to that or like tried to seek out help, the girls around me knew about this. For example, I don't really like to celebrate my birthday. Like in a way I want people to celebrate me but I myself have always placed like, no, that is like a burden to them. They have to take. So for me, if somebody is taking time for me, was itself like asking them like too much of their like things like that. So there was one time, it was in May, it was around my birthday, like one day before my birthday or something, and we had an exam, and like they all know that I don't particularly enjoy like being with a lot of people. So, and I never like speak about those things as well, and it's a date, like people tend to forget dates, and that's a very common thing to happen. So I never expected anyone to say anything or do anything, nothing like that. So there was one time, we were like 7 very close friends. Even everyone in the class, we just hug and like leave. Class correct separate bus stand, we'll just hug and go. So there was one time, and we were like there as normal, and then we were about to leave, and there was one of my friend, her name is also Parvathi, Rajeev. And she full name, same. And then she hugged me, and then she just whispered like happy birthday, and she hugged tight. And then she just left. She gave me a kiss and she just left, and that's it. So it was so like it's not validating, it felt like
it felt seen,
like because nobody, like even I wasn't that much thinking, oh, tomorrow is my birthday, I'm getting nothing like that. So just a normal day for me, but that just one small gesture made it very like validating, like seen, you feel. So coming to, so that made like that particular experience or like the moment is so valuable to me because of the, like I said, my problem with the self-loving part. I'm still not there yet. So when I talk about love, self-love, like you said, is a very important part. So how do I put it, like what do you think about self-love and how that journey started for you all, and how it is going now, and what have changed?
Okay, personally speaking, I had a problem with receiving love.
Okay.
For a very long time, I couldn't, like you said, even I would feel like, it's a burden for people to even love me or make time for me. And for a very long time, I didn't understand it's because I didn't have the self-love for myself. And I've realized and learned that over years that if you don't love yourself, you cannot even receive love. It's not just giving love.
Yeah.
You cannot even receive love or accept love. So when someone shows me love, I couldn't accept it. So I think my self-love journey started when this happened, when I realized that. And I think for me now, before it was like Instagram loga kanda pole matte ingane nice bath and stuff. Angana vishwasichathu oru time vare. But I think now over understanding and learning so much, I understood it's about how you say no. It's very easy for me to say no.
Oh,
yeah,
it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, it's very easy for me to say no. I don't think twice. Then it's the boundaries. I let who can have access or who, I let in my life.
Yeah.
I'm very particular about that. Pinna, it's also about discipline, how I take care of myself. It's not like just, wearing my fancy clothes. No, it's also about how I show up for myself on my bad days, how I treat myself, Not just watching a good movie but understanding where what is really wrong, where is my patterns repeating, and seeking therapy and stuff. It has really, really helped me, and I wouldn't say I have achieved that, but I'm in the process.
Yes.
So for me, I think self-love meaning has really become very important, and I think it's just not my personal relationship, but the relationship
With
I have
others.
with others have also are improving. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
Good job.
good for you.
Yes,
I would
yeah.
say. I'm proud of you for that.
Yeah.
Because I shit.
You're very much bad.
Very bad. Because basically I've had this very bad relationship with myself because I couldn't actually look into self-love when I was growing up. It was more of survival for me, I was more focused on surviving rather than taking care of myself or, even thinking about which career I want to go into, I would say as well.
I think even the career you chose, you had, like, you chose something else in first, and then
I've had a lot of I've done a lot of stuff in my life, because it was more of my parents telling me to do it, and then I was like, okay, because I'm a people pleaser.
Of course. Half of the...
Yes. So I've done a lot of stuff in my life, and then I've dropped a lot of things, and I've taken up new stuff. It's not because I don't think I have ADHD or anything, but then it's because it's just I don't really know myself, maybe. No, I kind of do know myself, but then I was more focused on surviving rather than loving myself or taking care of myself. So I didn't even think that I would be living up to this age as well, because that much I did not even plan ahead for stuff like that. So self-love journey is very interesting for me. I'm just trying to get there.
Yes.
I think you are.
Because
You're already.
The issue with that journey is also like you do step by step, but it only takes a very small thing to just to go straight back, and then again you go. So that's why I'm in like self-like-ish or before. I'm around that. I have not attained self-love.
Even something from someone, like someone who's close to you as well. അവരുടെ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു പെരുമാറ്റം maybe also sets me back a little bit as well, because I like self-doubt and everything. It's just
but I think that I used to always confuse myself, like self-love എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മള് മാത്രം ഇഷ്ടം ആരെന്ത് ചെയ്താലും നമുക്കൊരു പ്രശ്നമില്ല, I think we are human beings and we always need someone. We are born to be like that, and I feel like എത്ര നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പം എനിക്കാണെങ്കിലും എത്ര ആ ഒരു സെൽഫ് ലവ് ഞാൻ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്തിട്ടൊന്നുമില്ല, ലൈക്ക് യു സെഡ് ഐ ഹാവ് മൈ ബാഡ് ഡേയ്സ്. പക്ഷെ ഈവൻ ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് പ്രോസസ് it's not necessary that I think when people believe that it's fully self-love, I think it's more of selfishness. They say they do a lot of things in the name of selfishness because I've seen that and they call it self-love, but I think you need someone.
Yeah, because you're living in a society and you are made to be a societal being. Human beings are actually made to build communities and then have relationships and reproduce as well. You have to be considerate of each other. So self-love is not selfish, but then keeping boundaries is very good thing, which I'm trying to do. And then sometimes fail miserably, but then still I think I'm improving a lot as well. So self-love is a very interesting journey for me, especially. What about yours?
For me, again, it started very badly. Again, to understand, I am this bad, also takes a lot of time, because like you said, like from primarily from
more of unlearning
a lot of things, because I am a full on people pleaser. Like I just live for people around me. So everything I did plan, like but I had like plan A B C D E. If I don't go medicine, I do this, I do archaeology, then geology and everything. Like, and that was for pleasing my social studies teacher, not because I wanted to do, because I liked her. So it was not even now when I think of the decisions I have made, it is never for me, because I never, it was not even like a thing I considered. Because I remember there was one book called To Kill a Mockingbird that I can say that was like a defining book for me. So there is one portion which roughly translate to like put yourself in other people's shoe and like walk with it. So but because and it's such a powerful story and impactful story, what I do in every situation is that I think of what the other person is going through. Maybe that is the reason they reacted this way and everything. So I kind of sort of trained myself to not think about me, but for everyone else. So nobody has to do it themselves. Like I will think of them. Anganeyulla oru situation like vannu, and it went on like, it is a good way, but it needs to have a balance of for you and for others, and it went in a very bad way. And after a point, like it started when I really can't say no to anybody. Like it was very difficult for me to say no to anything, to say even if I have a good point and I know I was right, others were always like winning, because I can't say anything back to them, because I think ഞാൻ ഇത് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അവർക്ക് വിഷമാവും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതുകൊണ്ടാണ് അവർ പറയുന്നത്, അവരുടെ സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഇങ്ങനെ കൊണ്ടാണ് അവർ പറയുന്നതെന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഐ വിൽ കീപ്പ് ഓൺ ലൈക്ക് നമുക്ക് പറയേണ്ട കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഇങ്ങനെ പതുക്കി വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആഫ്റ്റർ എ പോയിന്റ് യു ഗെറ്റ് വെരി ഫ്രസ്ട്രേറ്റഡ്, ലൈക്ക് വൈ കാണ്ട് ഐ സ്പീക്ക്, ലൈക്ക് ദിസ് വാസ് എ ലിറ്ററൽ ക്വസ്റ്റൻ ഐ ആസ്ക്ഡ് മൈ തെറപ്പിസ്റ്റ്, ലൈക്ക് വൈ കാണ്ട് ഐ സേ ബാക്ക് ടു പീപ്പിൾ, ആൻഡ് ഷീ സെഡ് ലൈക്ക് ബട്ട് യു ഹാവ് ടു നമുക്കൊരു റെസ്പെക്ട്, നമ്മളോട് ഒരു റെസ്പെക്ട് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലല്ലേ ഉള്ളൂ വീൽ ഹാവ് റെസ്പെക്ട് ടു അവർ ഒപ്പീനിയൻസ് ആസ് വെൽ. അങ്ങനെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വീൽ ബി ഏബിൾ ടു ടോക്ക് ബാക്ക് ടു ദം ആസ് വെൽ. സോ ദാറ്റ്സ് സംതിങ് വി ഹാവ് ടു സ്റ്റാർട്ട് എന്നുള്ളൊരിത് വന്നപ്പം of course this like getting ready അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ പറയാം like dressing up ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, skin care ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, these all things help me to start loving my body, because that's something I never bothered about, how I look, or like I was mostly bothered about how I like, ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പറയില്ല ഒരു മുറിയിലേക്ക് ചെല്ലുമ്പോൾ ഐ വോണ്ട് ടു ബി ദ പേഴ്സൺ ലൈക്ക് എവറി വൺ ലുക്സ് അറ്റ്, ഐ വോണ്ടഡ് ടു ബി ദ മോസ്റ്റ് ഇന്റലിജന്റ് പേഴ്സൺ, ഐ നെവർ വോണ്ടഡ് ടു ബി ദ പേഴ്സൺ. No, so I always strive to be, I thought I will be the brainy child, like looks and all doesn't matter for brainy child എന്നുള്ളൊരിതായിരുന്നു. So that was never a part of it. അപ്പം അവിടുന്ന് തുടങ്ങി somehow somewhere I am here. That is where that is, and also the people around you also helps you, and once you are in that journey you understand, okay, this person shouldn't be in my circle, this person can be in my circle എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതിലേക്ക് എത്തുമ്പം I am kind of happy like about the circle I have, like from പണ്ട് തൊട്ടേ ഇപ്പം തൊട്ടുള്ളത് none of them are like too toxic. Like I have tried to like stay away from people.
I don't think I'm attracted.
എനിക്കിങ്ങനെ പണി കിട്ടിയ അങ്ങനെ ആക്കുന്നില്ല. So I think it's
പണി
better.
കിട്ടിയത്
I wouldn't say I have got a lot of fun.
ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ പറഞ്ഞതിന് ശേഷം ഞാനൊന്ന് ആലോചിച്ചപ്പോൾ പണികൾ കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. I think it's part of how accepting I was of people, you know, of ഇങ്ങനെ ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ സെൽഫ്ലെസ്ലി ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ if I am close to someone, if doesn't matter എന്ത് ഫ്രണ്ട്ഷിപ്പ് ആണെങ്കിലും കൂടി, if I'm close to them, I live for that person എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ, because you know I die എന്ന് പറയില്ല, പക്ഷെ I would live for that person എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ.
I think this reminded me of we Kannurkar, okay, we have this thing, like we both are from Kannur, and I think
Kannur gang.
Yes.
Kannur gang. We have this thing that ഞാനും അങ്ങനെയാണ്, ഒരാളെ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട എല്ലാം അങ്ങ് കൊടുക്കും. I think
ചങ്ക് പറിച്ചു കൊടുക്കും.
I think it's in our blood. Maybe.
ചോരൊക്കെ തിളക്കും.
So അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ കുറച്ച് പണികൾ കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. I'll be like blind, you know, അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഇതില്. But then at one point I'll start seeing what this person is actually, and then പിന്നെ എനിക്ക് there will be no coming back for me. I think that is a very bad trait as well, because at one point I'm like very close to this person, and then if I see something really like
Sinister.
Like what is this, like fishy, then pinna I'll try and then keep my distance from them, but then it might be confusing for me and them as well.
But do you communicate with them, or no, you just
try to communicate, but then mostly I used to ghost people. To be frank, I used to ghost people, but then I've learned
ghosting is healthy at some point. Yes, at some point.
But then
I mean, you need closure after a point, but like
no, but then it might be healthy for us, but then not the other person
but
standing.
I think if the other person deserves that, then it's healthy for
then it's okay, I guess. But then but still sometimes I feel guilty of ghosting people. You know, even maybe like ഒരു 5-6 വർഷം
that's then when it start bothering you, then you need to like act on it.
But then after 7 years, you can't actually, you know, text them, be like, I'm so sorry,
Hey
I
you.
ghosted you. Hey you, how are you doing?
But I think if you have a good relationship with someone, I think it shouldn't be a problem even if you
With
go
those,
back,
no,
or if that person can understand why you ghosted, or
No,
again defines a relationship with that person if it's worth it.
No, I don't want to
Exactly.
build a relationship with anyone, but then I just feel like, I should have told them the reason. Maybe then they would have understood. Or I don't know, man. But then I thought that was my way of self-loving. Ghosting people.
Yes. Okay, that's a good like time to like pause and take a break. And we'll come back. Okay, so we'll start. So we've come after the break. അപ്പോൾ ഇനിയുള്ള ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ വിച്ച് ബിക്കോസ് വി ടോക്ഡ് എ ലോട്ട് അബൌട്ട് സെൽഫ് ലവ് ആൻഡ് അൺകണ്ടീഷണൽ ലവ് ലവ് ദാറ്റ് ഹീൽസ് ബട്ട് ദർ ഈസ് ലവ് that controls also, that there is love that manipulates, there is love that it doesn't just have to be from one person or from within. It can be from a body, from a system, from പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്, ഫാമിലിയിലുള്ള ആയിട്ടുള്ള ലവ് ഉണ്ട്. സോ വാട്ട് ഡു യു ഗൈസ് തിങ്ക് അബൌട്ട് ലവ് ദാറ്റ് മാനിപ്പുലേറ്റ്സ് ഓർ കൺട്രോൾസ്? വാട്ട്സ് യുവർ ടേക്ക് ഓൺ ദാറ്റ്?
സോ ഇതിപ്പം വേൾഡ് വാർ 1 ആ ഒരു പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഡ്യൂറിങ് വേൾഡ് വാർ 1 ആൻഡ് വേൾഡ് വാർ 2 ലവ് വാസ് ആക്ച്വലി വെരി, അതൊരു എന്തോ ഒരു വലിയ കാര്യം പോലെ ആയിരുന്നു പോർട്രേ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത്. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ലവ് ഫോർ യുവർ കൺട്രി, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ ഹെട്രോസെക്ഷൽ relationships and monogamy was very much promoted during our time, because എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സാക്രിഫൈസിങ് യുവർ ലൈഫ് ഫോർ ദ ലവ് ഓഫ് യുവർ കൺട്രി, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ടെലിങ് വിമൻ ടു ലെറ്റ് them let their partner sacrifice their life for the country was also considered as great token of love എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ.
okay.
ഓൾസോ ഈ ജർമ്മൻ നാസി ടൈം ആ ഒരു റൂളുള്ള ടൈമിൽ they were actually rewarded to have interracial marriages.
Yeah.
അല്ല സെയിം racial marriages ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് interracial was banned essentially.
Yeah, okay.
അപ്പം എത്ര കുട്ടികൾ പ്യോർ ആയിട്ടുള്ള കുട്ടികളെ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നോ കൂടുതൽ റിവാർഡ് കിട്ടും എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ ഒരു റൂൾ ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഓൾസോ ഇന്റർറേഷ്യൽ മാരേജ് വാസ് ബാൻഡ് ഇൻ US and South Africa as well, I think until 1967 that was there. Also I think all these laws are kind of like controlling and manipulating who you can love and who you can actually be spend your life with. If you're talking about the love that's like relationship wise അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പാർട്ട്ണർ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ലവ് ആണെങ്കിൽ. Also same sex marriage was also not legal, and I would also say that marriage as it's like getting a license for your love. It controls who it's the government who decides who you can marry and who you can be with, who you can actually love. So I think that is very manipulative, and then the culture that you grow in also, it's like hunger, love is like hunger, and the choices that you make with food is essentially because of how you are grown up in a society or what culture you grew up in. So I also feel like love is also that taste comes in because of your culture and your environment as well. So I think everything manipulates in a way who you choose or how you love.
I think if love is not what love is supposed to be, there's manipulation. Whichever way that comes. Even if we take how love is being portrayed these days. She spoke about how it was earlier back in the days, but now if we think about how it's being portrayed, it's more like a commercial product. Okay, if we talk about even capitalist, there's this, I don't remember who the brand, but there's this something called Love is Forever, right? So they promoted this diamond which is forever. What was the brand? I forgot.
No. We'll research on it and we'll put it.
So they made it a thing just to promote their product, which is diamonds. നമ്മൾ കുറെ കണ്ടിട്ട് engagement ring.
That's how the diamond became the. I've heard the story.
That's how. So it says diamonds are forever. അങ്ങനെയാണ് engagement ringന് diamond ഇപ്പോഴും ഡയമണ്ട് റിങ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ റിങ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ വിൽ ബി ലൈക്ക് ഇറ്റ്സ് ചീപ്പ് ഓർ ഹി ഡസൻ ലവ് മീ. ഇറ്റ്സ് പോർട്രേഡ് വെരി ബാഡ്ലി. ലൈക്ക് എന്താ പറയുക, ഇറ്റ്സ് ജസ്റ്റ് എ കമേഴ്ഷ്യൽ പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് ആക്കി മാറ്റിയിരിക്കുക. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ മൂവീസ് ആണെങ്കിലും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഹൗ ഇറ്റ്സ് പോർട്രേഡ് ഇൻ ബോളിവുഡ്, or K-dramas. It's very, I wouldn't say manipulated, but it's not the right way to...
It's more realistic. It's not a realistic representation.
Because we confuse, or when we receive love, when we don't receive the love as it's portrayed in these forms, we get... we are not sure if that's love or അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കൺഫ്യൂഷൻ ഈ മാനിപ്പുലേഷൻ കാരണം നമുക്ക് ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് ഉണ്ടാവും. നമുക്ക് റിയൽ ലവ് റെക്കഗ്നൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ തീരെ പറ്റുന്നില്ല എന്നൊരു സ്ഥിതി വരെയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്.
What in your perspective is real love? I'm like curious.
റിയൽ ലവ്, ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത് ഈ മാനിപ്പുലേഷനും ലവും എങ്ങനെയാണ് വരുന്നതാണ്. ഈ റിയൽ ലവ് എന്ന് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് അവിടെ എന്താ പറയുക, ഇങ്ങനെ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ദ ലവ് ഫോർ യുവർ കൺട്രി. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മളെ കൺട്രീനെ കുറിച്ച് പല റിസർച്ചും ഒന്നും അറിയാണ്ട് തന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ വാർ ആണെങ്കിലും ഒക്കെ പ്രൊമോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് ഐ വുഡ് സേ ജസ്റ്റ് അതൊരു
patriarchal. No, patriotic.
അതല്ല, patriotic അല്ല. But that is again manipulation, അപ്പോൾ ബട്ട് റിയൽ ലവ് ഫോർ യുവർ കൺട്രി എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഐ വുഡ് സേ നമ്മൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്, നമ്മളെ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ദർ സോ മെനി ലീഡേഴ്സ് ഹു ഫോട്ട് ഫോർ ഇറ്റ്. അപ്പോൾ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ലവ് ഫോർ യുവർ കൺട്രി ആൻഡ് അത് റെക്കഗ്നൈസ് ചെയ്ത് നമ്മൾ ലവിന് അല്ല കൺട്രീനെ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുമ്പോഴാണ് ഐ തിങ്ക് ദാറ്റ്സ് എ ട്രൂ ലവ് ഫോർ യുവർ കൺട്രി. യു സ്റ്റാൻഡ് ഫോർ യുവർ ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ്. നമുക്ക് അവരൊക്കെ അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് വി ഹാവ് ദറ്റ് ഇൻഡിപെൻഡൻസ്, വി ആർ റെക്കഗ്നൈസ് ആസ് എ കൺട്രി. അപ്പോൾ ഐ ഫീൽ ലൈക്ക്
makes sense because നമ്മളുടെ ഇപ്പം പണ്ട് മുതലേ ഉള്ള ലിറ്ററേച്ചർ, because literature was the main form of what was portrayed അല്ലെങ്കിൽ how society was എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ was cultured was through literature. അപ്പം പണ്ടത്തെ ലിറ്ററേച്ചറിലാണെങ്കിൽ they have shown relationship of like love എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് it's more about societal അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ക്ലാസ്, ഒരു ഹൈറാർക്കിയൽ സംഭവമായിട്ട് കുറെ പോർട്രേ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഐ തിങ്ക് ഇൻ പ്രൈഡ് ആൻഡ് പ്രജുഡിസ് അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് ഷീ ഈസ് ലൈക്ക് she couldn't actually love or marry for love. She had to choose because class inde angane prashnagal, and then love came after marriage in those times as well. പിന്നെ അതിങ്ങനെ പിന്നെ മാറി ഐ തിങ്ക് റോമിയോ ജൂലിയറ്റ് വരുമ്പം അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് വി സീ വയലൻസ് ആൻഡ് ഹൗ ലവ് ഇസ് ലൈക്ക് in that it's about individualism വരുന്നുണ്ട്, പക്ഷേ it's still more about class and just fighting, just violence all over. And then I think in ഒരു 20th century ഒക്കെ ആകുമ്പോഴാണ് വി ഹാവ് ദിസ് സെൽഫ് ലവ് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ആൻഡ് ദെൻ ഓൾസോ നൗ ഡേയ്സ് ഐ തിങ്ക് ഇറ്റ്സ് മോർ ഓഫ് ലൈക്ക് ട്രാജിക് ലവ്. It's a world of like therapy and then healing and also fractured people as well. So and then Tinder as well. So Hinge and everything. No promotion, guys. We are not paid.
We are not getting paid for that, so we are not going to sponsor.
So dating apps.
Yes, in general.
So നീ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ തന്നെ മൂവീസിലാണേലും a lot of manipulation is happening. ഇപ്പൊ നീ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ patriotic movies, I think ഏതായിരുന്നു മറ്റേ Kashmir Files.
Kerala Files
is the movie. Yes, there was this two movies that are released at the same time. Kashmir Files undairunnu, pinne Kerala Story undairunnu.
Kerala Story was the movie.
So
sorry, not Files.
They try to promote these agendas and then incite this fake love or patriotism for the country എന്നുള്ളൊരു രീതിയിൽ. So everything influences us, our environment. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ തന്നെ environment actually influences or manipulates our idea of love. So നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ 20th centuryയിൽ ജീവിക്കണം, നമ്മളുടെ ഒരു ഐഡിയ ഓഫ് ലവ് ആയിരിക്കില്ല പണ്ട് ഒരു 19th century അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 15th centuryയിലുള്ള ഒരാളുടെ ഐഡിയ ഓഫ് ലവ് എന്നുള്ളത്. ബട്ട് similar thing is happening inside your brain. It's just activating this area of addiction. Basically that's what happens in the brain. When love and then oxytocin also is released. Appam it's a very mental scientific thing that's happening in your brain when you are in love, but
it's just a chemical reaction.
It is a chemical reaction. It is a biologically driven chemical reaction to actually reproduce. And then it was like a survival adaptation that was formed as well. So
So from what you said, പക്ഷെ പണ്ട് മുതലേ ഇപ്പം ലിറ്ററേച്ചർ ആയി നോക്കിക്കോട്ടെ എല്ലായിടത്തായാലും love is also very political. Like if you choose to love a person, if you choose to love yourself, if you choose to love or support a particular ideology, religious aikote, party aikote, that makes, when you take like Romeo and Juliet, the whole thing is that they choose to love each other, but they were from two families who always had a rifle between each other. So that was the huge problem. Like so love is political എന്നുള്ളത് എനിക്കൊന്ന് പണ്ട് മുതലേ ഉള്ളൊരു കാര്യമാണ്. If you choose, not like somebody else asked you to love, if you choose to love something or someone, it becomes itself a political act of it itself becomes against the system, like in a way. Even if as an Indian, if you're not supporting the dominant party, you're not considered a patriot. Which is not, or you're not considered somebody who loves the country, which is not, like, you might be thinking what will be good for your country, and that's why you speak against that particular group. Paksha that is always considered as a negative part. If you don't always love from the people from your own caste, that's again considered, or you're not loyal to your family, or you don't love your family.
I think in India and countries like Japan or China, it's more like sacrifice or devotion to your family than love. But we do see cases where in arranged marriage they fall in love later, but it's very few cases that happens.
Exactly.
No, arranged marriage it becomes, you get used to this person, right? So I
think you become more friends with that person rather than the love.
And then you're there with this person, and then you have to choose this person over and over
that
again.
have to makes it manipulative.
Have to makes it manipulative. Even I've also heard this where ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ colonizations നടക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് people ഈ colonize ചെയ്യപ്പെട്ട കൺട്രീസിൻ്റെ അകത്തുള്ള ആളുകളുടെ to make them civilized, these people they outlawed എന്താ പറയുക polygamy, or they just made heteronormativity എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ അവിടെ അതൊരു ലോ ആക്കി മാറ്റി to make them civilized, they say. So അവരുടെ ആ ഒരു കൾച്ചറിനെ മാറ്റിയിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ to suppress them, they manipulated their way of love or who they actually love എന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ. So I think people took love for their own goals.
Their own goals,
for their own
goals,
not goals, for to prove their points maybe, or make them successful to even suppress a community as a whole nulla reethile. So continue.
So the other thing again, if you come to like our work culture, like I have this issue with calling your workspace or workspace as a family, because like I don't find it as a very healthy way of looking into like, oh, we are all a family, and then ask you to do 100 tasks which you're not supposed to do, is again manipulation, is a control, is again that manipulation of that relationship with your boss or manager or whoever it is. But they say they love you, and then they give you like 100 work, and that makes it in a way that you can't really say back to them. Not a situation like you can say, but when it's wrapped and coated in love and sugar and everything, it makes it more difficult for them to retort back.
I think it also comes in friendship, not just
I was just saying,
so love is very, very misunderstood in so many ways. Like there's this attachment theory, which is this is something, it's very important. It's about even workspace ലാണെങ്കിലും നമ്മൾ ചിലപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് വേറെ എവിടുന്നും സ്നേഹം കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ടാവില്ല. അപ്പം നമുക്ക് ഓക്കെ വർക്കുന്ന കിട്ടുന്നെങ്കിൽ ഓക്കെ ഞാൻ കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് പണിയെടുക്കാം, ഇത് ഭയങ്കര ഒരു മാനിപ്പുലേഷനാണ്. ഐ തിങ്ക് ഇതൊക്കെ വരുന്നതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഈ അറ്റാച്ച്മെന്റ് തിയറിനെ ഇറ്റ്സ് ബേസിക്കലി ലൈക്ക് നമ്മൾ ചെറുപ്പത്തിൽ ഹൗ ആർ പാരൻസ് ലവ്ഡ് us is our way of seeing love.
Okay.
Or that's how we portray love as adults. So it's a pattern where there's this 4 types: anxious, avoidant, secure, and avoidant. What was the last one? I don't know. Something. So anxious nu parayumbolana we are more clingy. It's when we adannu vecha nammal cherupathil we wouldn't have received the love we were supposed to receive from our family or from our parents, because they couldn't be there for us. So when we grow up, what happens is that we tend to be very clingy, or if we are in a relationship, we are more like does my partner love me? Full doubts and will be very addicted.
Anxious.
Anxious,
Anxious,
bhayangara
Coming back to that point.
Okay, coming back to the point. Sorry, I got so lost in the process. Anyway, so അപ്പോഴാണ് നീ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ നമുക്ക് ലവ് ഒക്കെ ഭയങ്കര അഡിക്റ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് തോന്നുക. ഇറ്റ്സ് നോട്ട് ദ റൈറ്റ് വേ ടു ലവ്, ബട്ട് ബിക്കോസ് വി ഡിഡ്ന്റ് ഭയങ്കര ഡിപ്പെൻഡന്റ് ആവും നമ്മള്, ബിക്കോസ് വി ഡിഡ്ന്റ് റിസീവ് ദാറ്റ് വെൻ വി വർ എ കിഡ്. ബട്ട് ഇൻ സെക്യൂർ relationship അല്ല, secure attachment is when you completely received love from your parents and they were there. So even when you receive love and to give love, for you it's easy. Okay, and in avoidant what happens is that this person loves, even if it's a relationship, that person loves you, but he's so scared to, or he or she is so scared to admit that love. They want the independence overall. Over everything. Okay. So they will not be there for you. They cannot be there for you, and you know, or fight vanna thanne he'll be like scared. He'll run away from the situation. So that's what happens. That doesn't mean there's no love. So even ee ella condition, it doesn't mean there's no love. It's just how we have been received love in our life or in our childhood. Basically not life, your childhood. That's how we seek love, or we portray love.
Okay.
And this is a very important topic, and all of us are one of these. And it's the only way is for us to recognize this and be aware and work on yourself. Otherwise, to get love, to give love, it all becomes very difficult. It's not because we don't love or we don't want love, but because of this pattern. And the only way you can survive is when you break this pattern. Because ella except the secure attachment, it's not a good healthy way to be in a relationship. So even it happens not just in your boyfriend or your husband, it can be with your friends also. You know, we become very clingy or we don't trust them. So it all comes from your childhood. And
I think I'm all of the above.
I was like, where will I put myself? I'm like, I have this also, but I'm a bit secure or something. Okay.
I think, but there will be a dominant part where,
or maybe you have like broke the pattern without even realizing that, and you have outcome that one. So that's a good.
So I think what she talked about can also show up in your work life as well, that you were talking about. Ipo nammal anxious aanengil, it can actually be like, oh okay, I should finish everything, and then you know, just like being clingy to your manager. Maybe like being this teacher's pet might come from that as well.
I was I was, but only specified. Please do. But there was like specific teachers I want them to love, so I was very clingy to them. So they didn't like let me near them. That's another way. So.
Oh, that's sad.
Okay, continue.
So അപ്പോൾ അതൊക്കെ നമ്മളുടെ വർക്ക് ലൈഫിലായാലും ഇപ്പം maybe even if you go to this restaurant and then you know how you interact with this waiter that's standing in front of you also might show your patterns in some way, I think. Everything, even I think ഈ ഒരു ഭയങ്കര patriotic ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആൾക്കാരാണെങ്കിലും will show these type of attachment styles,
of course,
you know, because they don't have anything else to obsess over or love too much. So they get anxiously attached to this particular subject, and then I think if I can talk about this topic, because ipo ee K-pop nu parayanathu oru veliya oru very big culture it has become, right?
It's a very big market.
It is a very big market. So their marketing strategy is to actually make their fans feel connected to them. You know, so they can love them more ennulla reethil. It's like it's showing that we love our fans so much to the point where our fans don't even love us that much maybe ennulla reethil. So and then they have these personalities, not all of them, but then most of them have these personalities assigned to them. It's not their real personalities that they're showing in front of the camera. So it's just a way of connecting with the people and then just making them fall in love with this team member or this group of people. So I think that also they also take advantage of such type of attachment issues and people who are actually lonely and then doesn't actually receive love. Yeah, everything is very commercialized nowadays, especially love is very commercialized because ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ എന്ത് സെലിബ്രിറ്റീസ് ആണെങ്കിലും നിങ്ങളിപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ എടുത്തു നോക്കിയാൽ തന്നെ there's this huge, ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു മൂവി ഇറങ്ങുമ്പം പാലഭിഷേകം നടത്തുന്നു, വലിയ പോസ്റ്റർ, ചെണ്ടമേളം, എന്തൊക്കെ വലിയ വലിയ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ നടക്കണ്ടല്ലോ. That is also a type of devotion. Yes, love is devotion as well, right? Love turns into devotion. So yeah, everything is manipulated in so many different ways, and people, if they have power, they can actually manipulate how you love someone and who you love as well.
I think social media is also taking a huge role in this. നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ എന്താ പറയുക, like I said, the diamond, അത് പോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു പ്രസൻസ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കപ്പിൾ ഗോൾസ്, everybody has this പോസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. പിന്നെ
they have that there was one diamond company who does like Mangal Sutra, like Karwa Chauth in the summer. That's their biggest campaign of the year, is in Karwa Chauth ടൈമില് മംഗൾസൂത്ര ബൾഗേറിയയുടെ ആണ്. they release their new Mangalsutra collections. It's a thing.
Everything
it's just based on one like custom which is very rooted in patriarchy. And they just like try to make money because they know it works. So it's become to a point like, if you like something, it was, even it was not commercialized, even it was, you are not gonna like give it money for it. They tend to understand, they study that, and then they market it or like monetize it, and then you have to pay for that.
I think wedding industry is a very it's
wedding na alike bolo
we'll need two more other episodes to talk about that.
No, because ഒരു perspective നോക്കുമ്പോൾ people should enjoy their union with the love of their life and everything, but then I feel it's like the
cost is too much.
Too much. It's like your Indian
people take loans and loan.
One of my friend was saying that from his family alone, he is getting married soon, and then from his family alone 1,000 people are coming, and then he was like, oh, my family is a very big family, and I was like, 1,000 people family? No, but
I heard like somebody, there was like a reel where like some people go on street and ask like for questions and stuff. അങ്ങനെ എന്തോ ചോദിച്ചപ്പം എത്ര like ചെലവാക്കും for your wedding എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചപ്പം, and one girl said 5 crore. Like 5 crore is like my give it to me and I'll be done, I'll retire.
No, it's if they have money, let them do it. It doesn't matter. But then if they are like just doing it like for the
college children,
that's when it becomes a problem, right? When you have to just put it out there in social media and then be more obsessed with that part of the process other than being like, just celebrating nulla reethil agumbam, that's when it becomes problematic. Because ippam nu parnja there are photographers or cinematographers to take videos or photos, but then there's this another person who just takes on your phone. Story ഇടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് വീഡിയോസ് എടുക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ, they give them money to do that. I mean, that is
okay. So I think we are almost like finished with talking about the topic for today. പക്ഷെ അവസാനമായിട്ട് just as a conclusion, this is something that is like constantly comes up with the recent events that are happening also, because governing bodies ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, ഇപ്പം അത് എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പാർട്ടി ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ ഗവൺ ചെയ്യുന്ന റൂൾ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കാരായിക്കോട്ടെ, ദേ യൂഷ്വലി ഡു ഇറ്റ് വിത്ത് മോസ്റ്റ്ലി സ്പ്രെഡിങ് ഹേറ്റ്രഡ് ടുവേർഡ്സ് അതർ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി റാദർ ദാൻ ലീഡിങ് വിത്ത് ലവ് എന്നുള്ളൊരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട്. സോ ബട്ട് ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് ബിൻ സെഡ് ആൻഡ് ഡൺ ലൈക്ക് ബൈ പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ ലൈക്ക് ലീഡേഴ്സ് ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, thinkers ആയിക്കോട്ടെ അവർ പറയുന്നത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് മോർ ഈസിയർ ഫോർ പീപ്പിൾ ടു ഫോളോ യു ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ലീഡ് ത്രൂ ഹേറ്റ്രഡ് ലൈക്ക് ഹേറ്റ്രഡ് കൂട്ടിക്കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് മോർ പെട്ടെന്ന് തന്നെ സ്പ്ലിറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാവും ദർ വിൽ ബി മോർ ഓപ്പോസിറ്റ്സ് എന്നുള്ളൊരു കാര്യം വരും ആൻഡ് സോ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് ഇറ്റ്സ് എ ഷോയിങ് ഓഫ് വീക്ക്നെസ് ഇഫ് യു ആസ്ക് ദം ടു ലീഡ് ബൈ ലവ് സോ യു ട്രൈ ടു ലൈക്ക് ഇൻജെക്ട് മോർ ഹേറ്റ്രഡ് എന്നുള്ളൊരു ഇറ്റ്സ് എ വെരി എന്താ സിസ്റ്റമിക് ആയിട്ട് പൊളിറ്റിക്കലി എപ്പോഴും ചെയ്ത് വന്ന ട്രൈഡ് ആൻഡ് ടെസ്റ്റഡ് ഒരു മെത്തേഡാണ് സോ ഡു യു തിങ്ക് എനിബഡി ലൈക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി എ സ്മോൾ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഓർ എ ബിഗ് ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ക്യാൻ യു ലീഡ് ബൈ ലവ് എന്നുള്ള ഒരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ബിക്കോസ് ഫോർ മീ വാട്ട് ഐ think is that when you think of a smaller group, because I can't think of like India as a bigger community with so much demographic like of course they shouldn't be led by hatred. That is such a like negative one. Pakshe I have if I think of my classroom or my teachers, there are teachers who have spread fear and try to teach us, like try to govern us, or principals aikote. There are teachers who try to spread fear among the students so that they will sit and listen to the class. And there are teachers who led by love, and those are the teachers I respect, and those are the teachers I think of. So do you think you can lead by love, and how that can change somebody?
I think if you take Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, അവരുടെ എക്സാമ്പിൾസ് ഒക്കെ എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിലും they have led with love and compassion for their communities. So I think it's very it is very influential and very strong when things are led with love. You know, like I said, Mata K-pop India or example. It's a very good example of leading with love rather than hatred. So I think it's just showing people that you actually care about them, and then showing people that just having love for them is very important to just to influence them in a good way. In a good way, you know, because hatred ആവുമ്പം കുറച്ചും കൂടി കൂടുതൽ there's this adrenaline rush, more violence, more anger involved, and then those emotions are actually more loud than maybe like leading with or love, you know, because this might not be a very good example, but then non-violence, Mahatma Gandhi ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിലും he wasn't, maybe I can't say it with love, but then he was being quiet and empathetic towards everyone, you know, respectful towards everyone, and then not being so loud and violent maybe. So I think that just shows how influential it can be and how powerful it can be, just leading with love.
എനിക്കൊന്നും പറയില്ല.
That's fine.
It's
just like an example.
I agree with her. Like if we have such leaders to look up to, I think it's a good thing that, you know, we can follow, and with love definitely there will be changes.
Will you be leading with love if you had a chance? That's
definitely.
Like
I think it can bring changes easily. But like you said, hatred ആണ് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ easy. That's what our leaders are using. Even ഇന്ത്യയിലാണെങ്കിലും Modi's, you know, trying to just make it a ഇപ്പോൾ beef ban ചെയ്തതന്നെ it's like, you know, trying to, you know, ഒരു ഹിന്ദു ഡോമിനേറ്റിംഗ് കൺട്രി ആക്കാനാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ഈസി ബിക്കോസ് ലൈക്ക് ശരി അവർ പറയുന്നത് എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റഡ് അല്ലാത്ത ആൾക്കാർ ഇറ്റ്സ് വെരി ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻഷ്യൽ. ബട്ട് അറ്റ് ദ സെയിം ടൈം ഐ തിങ്ക് ഓൾ ദീസ് കുറച്ചും കൂടെ എല്ലാവരെയും റെസ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യാനും ഇതും കൊണ്ടുവരാണെങ്കിൽ that will be a very great thing.
It is not only uneducated people who actually follow these hatred messages. There are very educated who are like professors and doctors as well, who support these kind of statements and movements as well. And even നമ്മുടെ daily life എടുത്ത് നോക്കിയാൽ തന്നെ, if you are putting this habit of, you know, just growing your child into this space of hatred, it's not really a good environment to
Environment,
grow
yeah.
in. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പം if you're taking up a habit, ഇപ്പം making them going to school, for example, if you lead them with love and then just make them understand why they are doing it in a very nice way, rather than being like, oh, if you don't go up, you'll be ending up, cleaning or in those hateful words use ചെയ്യാതെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ കുട്ടികളെ ലീഡ് ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ മേ ബി ലൈക്ക് നമ്മളുടെ സൊസൈറ്റിയിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ അടിക്കുന്നതൊക്കെ ഇറ്റ്സ് കോറിലേറ്റഡ് ടു ബീങ്
Disciplined, yeah.
It's I don't think it's a very good way of being disciplined as well. So that's a very hateful way of doing it. So yeah, other love, if you lead it with love and if you try to make them understand why they are supposed to do some things in a certain way. Yeah, I think that also comes back to making love manipulative.
Yeah.
We are just spiraling around.
Yeah. But that's mainly it, I guess. Do you guys have any like ending notes about love, on love?
Yeah,
What is love?
Just be
In love?
maybe if you can. If you want to, then just be in love and be in love with yourself. That is important.
Primarily.
Primarily important. And yeah.
Do you want to quote anybody or no? Nobody.
Do you want to quote
No,
someone?
I don't have anybody to quote. I think I'll quote. No, I can't quote myself. No. Yes. No. That'll be very... Okay, do you have any other final thoughts?
No. That's it.
I think we have said
A lot
covered a
about
lot of
love.
things
lot of
about-
Are we exhausted about love?
exhausted.
Yeah.
I think everybody's perspective is just different on love, and then it's just okay to share your perspective. And I think that's it.
That's mainly it. Yeah, especially if you please do love yourself, and if you are finding it difficult to love somebody else, talk to them about why it is difficult and have that conversation. And that's basically it. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, please do comment on your opinions on these things and what you guys thought about it, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.